Hello everyone, I'm Brad and welcome to the first video under the new name Watch Rate Heart. Now, this video will not have any reviews. Instead, once a week I will discuss some of the news and topics that were buzzing around film in a series I'd like to call Take One. Now, that name may change. If you have a better suggestion for a name, let me know in the comment. But with that, let's begin with the stories. First up, let's start with the passing of Michael Madsen. He passed away on July 3rd, 2025 at the age of 67, and though he did have smaller roles in films like Sin City and did some voice acting in some video games like the Dishonored franchise, he is known more for his collaborations with Quentin Tarantino. And while he had small roles in The Hateful Eight and Kill Bill, he is most known for playing the psychotic Mr. Blonde in Reservoir Dogs. And let's be honest here, Madsen was an important actor when it came to Reservoir Dogs. He personified what would become one of Tarantino's trademarks: effortless cool and just a frightening sense that you won't know what's coming. Madsen personified that in Mr. Blonde, and if he hadn't knocked it out of the park in Reservoir Dogs, would Tarantino be where he is right now? We may never know, but what we do know is that Madsen often brought a hidden bit of chaos in every role he played, and to know that chaos is no longer with us is sad to hear. Alright, so let's get into the news of what happened this past week. A spin-off series of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is in the works, with the focus on Chief after he escapes the asylum. And I have to ask, why now? Actually, more importantly, why? Why? I know there are some movies with characters that people love, that they want to know more about the character in. Is Chief one of them? I think another problem that a lot of these filmmakers and these showrunners have is that they take these characters that people like the mystery behind. They like to think they would know what the backstory is. And part of the fun and part of what makes films and storytelling so good is that people get to use their imaginations to figure it out themselves. I just think this is a bad idea all around. I don't think anyone's asking for a sequel to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or anything involving Chief in that matter. I'm saying, let it lie. Don't do anything with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Leave it where it is. Don't do this. This is terrible. Next story, Lily Gladstone, who was nominated for Best Actress for Killers of a Flower Moon, is being cast in Michael B. Jordan's starring and directing remake of The Thomas Crown Affair. Another remake of The Thomas Crown Affair? I mean, okay. I like Michael B. Jordan. I like Lily Gladstone in Killers of a Flower Moon. So these are definitely very capable actors. But this is now going to be... This is going to be the second time this is going to be remade if this goes through. The first one was with Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo, which honestly wasn't bad. It was actually pretty good. I have yet to see the original, and I think I'm probably going to have to make time to see that before this gets done. So, man, another remake of The Thomas Crown Affair. I don't know what they could do different, but we'll see. I'll refrain from being too harsh. I'm just getting a little tired of the remakes and the sequels of older movies, so that's just me. In other news, Glenn Powell and Chris Evans are reportedly favorites to be cast to take over the Indiana Jones franchise. I got one question. Why would you want to at this point? The last two Indiana Jones films were bad, and a lot of people will feel that way too, that they were bad movies. So the taste in the mouth of people who love Indiana Jones is pretty sour. Now you're going to basically reboot the entire series with either Chris Evans or Glenn Powell. I don't have any problem with either of the two. I would probably recommend Glenn Powell do it, but even then, I don't know why you would do it, because you now have the responsibility of not only rebooting it, but also making it good, which the Indiana Jones franchise hasn't been in over 3 decades. So I don't know if someone would actually want to take this on unless they're going to spend a lot of money to put them on screen. I don't think this is a good idea. I think Indiana Jones, of anything, should be a franchise that goes away after the last one. I think they should just end it, make them classic movies, and just be done. But this is Hollywood, so we know they won't do that. Nintendo reveals they are doing more film and TV projects aside from the Super Mario Bros. Movie sequel and the Legend of Zelda live-action film. This is not a surprise. This is actually the least surprising thing with their film and TV projects. I guess the only question is, what are the games that will turn into TV shows or film projects? I want to say Metroid, but something tells me that's not going to happen. Mainly because I think, if I recall correctly, Metroid is more popular in the States. And with Nintendo being a Japanese company, I don't think they'll want to use that. I think the next project that will probably happen is Splatoon, and that will be a animated TV series. Splatoon has enough of a quirky personality that it could work, and there is a fan base for it, but I don't think there are fans of the story of Splatoon. I think they're more of the gameplay. But there is a young enough audience that I think that would probably give that a shot. There's really not much in the way of stories with this, so unless they do a Famicom Detective Agency, which that could possibly do it, but those are my thoughts on that. And finally, we have a reported cast list for the Street Fighter movie, and here's some notable ones. We have Jason Momoa, who is playing Blanka. We have Andrew Schultz playing Dan Hibiki, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes as Guile, the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns as Akuma, and 50 Cent as Balrog. Look, I can give my opinion on all the casting in this and talk about how some of it's a little weird, some of it might work, but the honest truth is, the one question I have is, how are you going to make a Street Fighter movie? Is it going to be Bloodsport? Is it going to be like movies like that, or are you going to try to put an overarching story again that didn't work in the other films? Those were because the writing was bad, but I don't see how a live-action Street Fighter would work. But again, I'm willing to be proven wrong, but when the best of these films is Mortal Kombat, which I gotta be honest, is not that good of a movie, I have the press X for doubt that this will turn out well. But as for the casting, some of it's inspired, I guess. I think Andrew Schultz as Dan could be interesting. Roman Reigns as Akuma, I don't know. And Cody Rhodes as Guile, okay. I'll say this, though. You're going to be less and less surprised that more and more professional wrestlers are going to get into acting in films. And not just the big names, like Cody Rhodes, like Roman Reigns, like MJF. That's becoming less and less a surprise. But I think you're going to find it really surprising that the lesser-known ones are actually going to start getting roles. I would not be surprised to see more professional wrestlers just get acting roles. So that's my take on that. So let's get into some film Twitter takes on X. And I'm calling them film Twitter takes because, honestly, they're still called film Twitter. I don't think they'll want to be called Film X, so whatever. I have this tweet from Rachel Reviews Movies in Theater. She asks, can someone explain to me why an activity where any interaction is discouraged is seen as requiring a companion? Is it because it's associated with dating? Like eating out alone, I can understand because nobody to talk with. Movies alone, I just don't get it. And she's talking about a post where the person says, is it weird to go to the movies alone? And I gotta agree with Rachel here. For the most part, when I went to go see movies, I went alone. And mainly the reason why is the movies I wanted to see, no one wanted to see with me. And when I was dating at the time and seeing movies, I kind of felt guilty asking my girlfriend or the person I'm dating at the time to watch a movie she was not interested in. So I kind of got used to watching movies alone, and I got to be absolutely honest, too. I prefer watching movies alone. I agree with Rachel here. I think it's weird that we stigmatize people who want to see movies alone. Let's get to the next post. This is from Discussing Film, and Discussing Film talks about how Scarlett Johansson has become the highest-grossing actor of all time worldwide, and I see a lot of people being excited because it's a woman and Scarlett Johansson, and I hate to be this person, but I don't think being the highest grossing actor of all time means anything anymore. I really don't. Because the people who are in the highest grossing of all time have one thing in common. They're all part of big franchises. I mean, even Tom Cruise, who leads his own franchises, don't get me wrong, with Top Gun and Mission Impossible. But he has two huge franchises there. And then you have Scarlett Johansson, Robert Downey Jr., Vin Diesel, all part of the MCU. Vin Diesel is part of Fast and the Furious, of course. Honestly, this is really not as big of a deal as it is because I would say, especially if you're in the MCU, the actors really don't matter as much as the characters. Let me put this another way. The actor has to portray the character very well for it to work. However, I think most people are not looking to see Scarlett Johansson. They want to see Black Widow. They don't want to see Chris Hemsworth. They want to see Thor. They don't want to see Robert Downey Jr. They want to see Iron Man. Let me ask you a question. With Robert Downey Jr., How much do you think him being in Oppenheimer actually helped the box office grossing? I'm going to say not much. I don't think it did. And look at also with Chris Hemsworth and the other movies that he was in. He made a lot of money in the Thor movies and in the Avengers movies. How did Men in Black International do? Not well, right? That's what I'm saying. So, congratulations, but I don't think this means much anymore. And we have Variety here. Variety is reporting that James Gunn says Superman is about an immigrant that came from other places and how we've lost the value of basic human kindness. He is quoted by saying, yes, it's about politics. I am actually kind of stunned with some of these filmmakers who don't seem to get that people are tired of everything being politicized. And let's be honest, too, okay? You can have political messaging in your movie. You can have all sorts of messages in your movie. You can do that. But for me, part of me enjoying a film is me seeing those messages and taking it out for myself. But watching it and going, I wonder if that's what he's talking about here. That's like the fun and the enjoyment I get out of watching films. Having a director say this right off the rip, so yeah, this is what this is about, does nothing for you. It does nothing. You can say, guys, it's a Superman movie. It's a superhero movie. Let's just have fun. And then you'll have a bunch of people, like on YouTube, on Twitter, who will make those points for you. And that's fine. But when you do it, when the filmmakers do it, now you got people who are tired of having politics in their movies going, oh, God, it's a political movie? Well, I guess I'm not watching this. Now, will this hurt Superman? No, I don't think so. Although I think Superman might not do very well in the box office or might not make as much money as they want to. We'll see how the word of mouth is on this. But I really think filmmakers are going to have to start paying attention that a lot of people don't want to see this. And it might have to be that films like Superman bomb for them to start realizing it. So we'll see what happens. But I'm just getting a little tired of filmmakers doing this and not realizing that, respect your audience's intelligence. They may suss that out themselves. And you don't have to say anything. Let's be honest, guys. The media literacy nowadays with a lot of people is awful. Like, a lot of people don't seem to see obvious messages in film. By not saying it, probably be better off for you and let other people look at it and say, oh, this is the message. And yeah, people who have no media literacy will make fun of, what the hell are you talking about? But don't do it yourself. You're just going to hurt your film's chances. So I got this last one here, Physical Media Forever. And this rankled a lot of feathers. And this is, they put a warning in front of Rush Hour because of Gen Z. And the screen says, we all love our 90s buddy comedies, but this movie was created in a different time. FYI, certain depictions, language, and humor may seem outdated and at times offensive. Okay, so I kind of have a complicated kind of answer to this. So, does this annoy me? Yes, it does. I'll be honest. It does. It does annoy me because it really just shows that the people who run these studios and these channels think that we are overly sensitive when the majority of us really are not. However, I do think there should be content warnings. So here is my proposal of what to do in this situation, okay? So you have the rating of TV-14 right there that says the rating, and it has drama, language, and violence in the movie that you're about to see. Instead of having this whole big thing right here that says, hey, you might be offended by what is said, what I would suggest is this. Instead of having this, put a QR code on the bottom right-hand side and say, content warning, some things might be objectionable, scan this to find out what. Let them scan it, and it will take them to either IMDb or Common Sense Media or wherever, and there will be a website where they can read it and go, hey, this is what's in this film. Or hell, if you have a QR code and a specific one, hey, the next 20 minutes is going to have this. What annoys me about this the most is really not that there are content warnings. I kind of understand why. I kind of don't, actually, because they don't work. Like, trigger warnings really do not work. But what really annoys me is that you could easily find out what's in these movies. Last week, I watched, for a review that's coming up in another month or so, Drive. And I looked at the content warnings on IMDb, the Parent's Guide, and I looked at it and went, okay, I think I can handle this, because if it's really bloody and gory and disgusting, I normally can't handle it. But if I prepare myself, I think I can then handle it. And let me tell you something, I couldn't handle it. Oh boy, I couldn't handle that. I had to look away in like the two big scenes of the film because, whoa, they were gory. The responsibility is on me, the viewer, to figure out whether I can handle this content or not. It is not up to the person that is making the movie. Okay? It is up to me to figure out whether I can handle it. I think that's what annoys people the most about this, because they look at this and go, I can handle some foul language and Jackie Chan saying the N-word. I can. It's okay. I can do that. But they feel like they have to put this for whatever reason, and I think that's what annoys people most. So my feeling is, yes, have content warnings, but put it on the bottom right-hand side on a QR code so they can look it up themselves. That's what I would do. And for my last one here, what I'm going to talk about right now is last week, the New York Times had a list. They spoke to about 500 people in the film industry, critics and actors, directors, stuff like that, and asked them, what are the 100 best films of the century thus far? And I thought it would be kind of neat to go over some of them and give my opinions on them. I'm going to start with 100 to 81. And then after I'm done with everything, I'm going to talk about what they missed. So let's start with 100 to 81. I am surprised to see Superbad here. And not because it's bad. I like Superbad. But a part of me thinks that if Superbad's on here, I think Booksmart should be on there together as well. I am very happy to see Minority Report on this. I am very surprised to see The Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring. Not because people don't love the movies, of course they do, but wouldn't Return of the King be on there? I thought people loved that one more, but I guess I'm wrong. As far as lowlights for me, I mean, Gravity. Honestly, the thing I keep noticing with Gravity is the people who saw it in theaters on IMAX love it, and the people who didn't, not so much. I am not surprised to see Black Panther here, just because how culturally important that movie is. But I will say until my dying breath, Black Panther isn't even the best comic book movie out there, so there's that. Not surprised to see Gladiator there. Not surprised to see Past Lives, even though I'm not really a fan. All right, let's move on to 80 to 61 here. And I am very happy to see Tree of Life at 79. Another one, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? A movie that I think people like for the music, but don't really talk about with the film. But it is still a very good film. Let's see what else. I'm glad Carol is there. I like Ocean's 11, but come on. Spotlight definitely deserves to be there. Memento, absolutely. I'm a little surprised Oppenheimer is there right now. It was just released last year. A little surprised about Gone Girl being there. What I will note, however, and might piss off some people on Twitter who seem to stand this movie to death even to this very day, is that Everything Everywhere All at Once is 77, and yet Tar is 67. I have been saying for quite a while now, in the future, people will look back and go, how did Tar lose Best Picture and Best Actress to Everything Everywhere All at Once? Now, is that a guarantee it will happen? No, but it's starting to show that I think more people actually appreciate Tar more than they would actually appreciate Everything Everywhere All at Once. Let's keep going down to 41 to 60 here. I'm not surprised to see Whiplash there. Not surprised for Uncut Gems. I'm a little surprised for Punch Drunk Love and for it being as high as it is, even though I do like it. Pan's Labyrinth at 54. That's a top 10 for me. Like, that's a little surprising. Favorite, not surprised. Up, not surprised. Before Sunset, one of my favorite films of all time, is on the list. I'm happy about that. Almost Famous. I would have honestly said this would have been in the 80 to 100. I'm very happy it's at 47. That's good. I am surprised Moneyball is so high. I felt like there was kind of a backlash to Moneyball being so popular, but I'm a little surprised by that. The Master, I'm not surprised. MLA, I'm a little surprised by, but maybe not being on the list, but being so high. And then Old Boy is not a surprise. I thought Old Boy would probably in the 20s, but yeah, okay. Let's go from 40 to 21. See, we have Yee Yee. I'm not surprised with Yee Yee being on there. I think it was IndieWire who gave this number 1 last year. So I guess I'm a little surprised that it is in 40 and not in the top 20. I'm surprised also that Call Me By Your Name and A Portrait of a Lady on Fire is so low on there. I thought that would be in the top 20s as well. Very surprised A Serious Man is on there, and I'm very happy it is. What do we have here? I've heard a lot of people talk about how good A Prophet and A Separation is, so that's not a surprise. I'm surprised The Departed is in the 30s. I would have suspected it would have been in the 50s and 60s. Lost in Translation, not surprised. I'm very happy with Her being on the list. That is one of my favorite movies of all time, but I am happy for where it is. Phantom Thread's another one I'm very happy to see. Adaptation is another one. I think Anatomy of a Fall is too high. The Dark Knight is too high. Way too high. I love The Grand Budapest Hotel, but that's too high. I thought enough people have said that Boyhood is not really that good of a movie that it's on there, but I guess I'm wrong. Or I guess I'm the only one, because I didn't like Boyhood all that much. I'm happy to see Lady Bird as well on here. I think that's too high, but, I'm happy to see that as well. And finally, let's get to the last 20, from 20 to 1. I am stunned that The Wolf of Wall Street is in 20. I thought of anything The Departed would be the film that is in the highest when it came to Scorsese films, but for that to be there, wow. Pleasantly surprised to see Zodiac get so high. I love the fact Y Tu Mamá También is up there and that high. As I feel the same with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I'm a little surprised Brokeback Mountain is not in the top 10s, but that's fine. Not surprised City of God is up there that high. I have not seen it, but I've heard great things. I should see it at some point. I'm a little surprised Inglourious Bastards is up that high. Well, no, actually, let me take that back. I was thinking that another film that Tarantino did, Django Unchained, would probably be up there, but I'm actually not surprised with that. Very happy to see Children of Men up there. Very happy to see. I've given my thoughts on Zone of Interest. It being 12 is way too high for me. To me, it shouldn't be on the list. Mad Max Fury Road, yeah, I can get that. Spirited Away in the top 10, thank you. Get Out, top 10, yeah, Get Out's fine, but I know I'm an outlier in this, but I think Get Out is just a redone Stepford Wives. It's fine for what it is. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind at top 10. Very surprised by that, actually. I would have expected top 20. I'm a little surprised No Country for Old Men is not in the top 3. Moonlight on number 5. I like Moonlight. I really like Moonlight. Is it top 5? No, I don't really think so. I honestly would have expected Carol or Portrait of a Lady on Fire to be in the top 5. Not Moonlight. But again, that's me. In the Mood for Love, oh yeah, definitely. There Will Be Blood. I really like There Will Be Blood. I would have been fine with top 20, but it's number 3. Number 1 to me would have been Mulholland Drive. I really love Mulholland Drive. That should have been number 1. And then the number 1 is Parasite. Okay, so I really like Parasite. I think it's a very good movie. Number 1, I would have been fine with it on the list, but number 1, especially over Mulholland Drive, nah. I think the next time they do this list again, Mulholland Drive will be number 1. Unless something really blows it away. But now that we've gotten through the entire list, let me talk about the movies that I think probably should have been on that list, that I'm surprised didn't get in there. Let's start with the 2000s. First off, I think not a lot of people have seen Synecdoche, New York. And if they had, this would be on that list and in the top 20s. There was only about 2 documentaries in this entire list, and I'm very surprised Dear Zachary wasn't in there. Another one that I am stunned is not there is Casino Royale. Casino Royale is the best Bond movie ever made. It's one of the best action movies ever made. How did that not get on the list? And another one I would say is Sideways. Sideways was one of the most beloved films in the 2000s. Critics loved that film, and that didn't even get on this list. Another one, Far From Heaven from Todd Haynes. That I was kind of surprised by. Another one I would say, In Bruges, was not in the list as well. Tropic Thunder wasn't in there. See, that's the comedy I would have said should have been on there. Tropic Thunder. And then one other documentary, The Fog of War, I thought should have been represented on there as well. 2010s, the only comic book movie that's there in that is Black Panther. My pick would have been Logan. Logan was by far and away the best. A top 10 movie for me would have been The Handmaiden. I thought that was surprising that was not there. The remake of True Grit from the Coen brothers should have been there. Sorry to Bother You, a hilarious film, I thought should have been there. A film I've reviewed recently, 8th Grade, I thought should be in there. And I would also say that Little Women, the one that Greta Gerwig did, should be there as well. As for the 2020s, Drive My Car, The Boy and the Heron, and Poor Things. I think those three are going to end up on that list at some point too. But I'm also kind of surprised that One Night in Miami is not on that list either. So that is my thoughts on that. What is your thoughts on the New York Times top 100 films of the century thus far? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on that, and let me know what your comments are on my takes on that, or on any of my takes from the First Take One. You can follow me at X and on Letterboxd at Watch Rate Heart. Thank you for watching, and remember, we all watch and rate movies, but you give them the heart that makes them last forever.